So on this episode, we'll be talking to Peter Turner, Managing Director of Cocoon Bauer, an interior design company, and also Bauer at Home, which is an interior design shop based in Yarm. Pete is very, very amazing in the interior design world. He is the best with trends, he's the best with design, he's the best with everything. He helps me out. So if you need a property or if you need your office doing, go to Peter Turner, Cocoon Bauer.
Perfect. That's me done then.
So, yeah, he's your go now.
I don't need to do anything more.
Right, so you're here today to talk about your story for Socialise podcast.
Okay.
I want to talk about your education from the start. So how did you want to do like interior design? How was school? Did you know in school or did you go to college and figure out you wanted to do it there?
In school, I probably knew that I wanted to do design of some sort. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know what type of design. I was just into graphics design. My teacher, he was really good, the graphic design teacher. My art teacher was really good. And I just knew that I wanted to do some sort of design, but it wasn't until I got to our college that I knew that it'd be interiors.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was fab. I mean, I was one of 2 people or 3 people in my year that went. Everybody else went to prior, but I knew that I wanted to do something that was more design-led, so I knew that it'd probably figure itself out once I got to CCAD. And the course was brilliant, yeah, it was really good, really well run. Martin and Neil were the people who ran it at the time. And it was 3D design that I did. So you did exhibition design, product design, furniture design, interiors. You did all sorts. And it wasn't until I did the interior design module that I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I like this the most. Which kind of makes sense because, like, as a kid, I was always like designing football stadiums and drawing like interiors of football stadiums and stuff like that. So it made sense, but it wasn't until that point that I sort of figured myself out, really.
And then you went on to uni.
Went to uni, a couple of people went to like Lincoln Uni and Huddersfield and a few others that did interior design courses, but the Teesside one was...
You stayed in Teesside,
Yeah, Teesside one was one of the best in the area. At the time, it might still be, but it was one of the best in the country. So I did 3 years at Teesside doing interior architecture and design. So it wasn't just interior design, it was like focusing on fabrics, colours, textiles, all that sort of thing, which wasn't what I was interested in. I wanted to do interior architecture, so it was all about moving walls, space planning, choosing the colour schemes, but also choosing the lighting display, everything that is incorporated within an interior. So I did interior architecture and it was brilliant.
Did you have to do projects at uni?
And such as what, live projects?
Yeah, so like did you have to get a brief and then go
Oh
off the
yeah,
brief
you did,
like
yeah.
that?
So you got different modules, so you got different briefs. It depended on what the module was. So some of them were quite big and quite vast. Some of them you had to work with the teams. Some you had to just do it by yourself and do like a final major project and come up with your own brief. So yeah, it was you kind of learnt that element of it. But being at uni doesn't prepare you at all for coming into the industry. It just doesn't. So hence when we take anybody on now, we have to give them a good amount of training to understand just what it's like. You don't get 8 weeks to do a design, you get 3 days, and then you have to do visuals at the end of that or during that period. It's got to be a quick turnaround. So it's a bit difficult. It's a bit different to what you expect when you're in a uni course.
Yeah, I suppose at uni you have all the time as well, and you can ask the questions.
Absolutely, yeah. Whereas, so Sophie, who works for me at the moment, she's still at uni. She'll be coming full time in May when she finishes. She only works 3 days a week now, but I'll give her a job yesterday and I'll be like, right, I need it done by Friday because we need to get it over to the customer so we can start getting it priced. But if she was, the 2 days that she's at uni, she's got like 8 weeks, 16 weeks to do a final major project or whatever it is. So it's just completely different.
Yeah.
But she's getting really good experience now of just getting on with something and having to do it quickly, but coming up with good design in that time. It's not just rushed or not thought through,
Can she use what she's doing with you at uni?
Yeah, to some degree, yeah.
Because that will help her along loads, won't it?
Well, she's probably learning. Well, she's even said that she's learning loads now by being in the business, understanding manufacturers, suppliers, the way things work, the way things are built, the way things like you can't do this with this because that's just unfeasible. You just wouldn't do it. She's just picking up a lot of the understanding and the experience that she wouldn't have done just by working at uni. So hopefully, I mean, if I haven't looked at a final major project or anything like that, and I wouldn't want to look into it anyway. I wouldn't want to try and involve myself in that. It's, you know, it's entirely her bit.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining that she's got a wealth of experience behind her now, because she's been working for us since August, September. That'll hopefully show that she'll be above the rest in her class. She already was anyway. That's why I took her on.
Oh yeah. How did you how did you get Sophie? Like, how did you apply, or did you go through the uni?
Strangely, she applied for the job that Sarah's now got. And so did James, who's joined on Monday. He applied for Sarah's job, but we had a really good batch of people who applied for Sarah's job last year. Interviewed them all, and Sophie and James and maybe one other was always kind of like, right, if we need to expand, then we go straight to them because they were fab. It turned out that Josh left not long after we got Sarah, so Sophie came in pretty much straight away.
Right.
So Sarah was brought in to just do a junior design job, but she's brilliant. She still needs training in certain areas which she understands, but she knows that she is better than what she probably thinks herself is. So she came in, she was fantastic. We got Sophie on, and then because of needing another visualizer and another person to be in the business because we're that busy, we've then taken on James, who's now our 3D visualizer.
Oh my God, how many people have you got in the team now?
So there's 6 of us, including myself. Penny, who's my project manager. Casey, who's like the head interior designer. Then there's Sarah, Sophie, James, and then downstairs there's Mandy and Claire from Bauer at Home.
Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
They are really
the
nice.
fab. Yeah, they bring a good amount of experience, but also they're just really nice to get along with. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Yeah.
So when you were at uni and you left uni, what was your first job, or did you need to do like volunteering, or?
No, I was really lucky, really lucky. So I ended up. I can't believe you got me red wine.
Oh my God, we are absolutely having.
No, you could. Yeah, but it could have been white. It could have been a lot easier to drink.
And said red.
Ant said red.
Yeah.
Blame Ant then. Right.
I'm gonna blame Ant.
Well,
It's 9:30 in the morning.
I know it's 9:30 in the morning on a Thursday.
We need it. Business on.
So I left uni and had an offer from a job over in Beedale. So I ended up going over to Beedale and working there for nearly 10 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I ended up driving there every day for 10 years. It's like 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. Worked from being like junior designer up to director and shareholder in the business. So me and my other business partner ran it, and then we had like 2 silent partners. But things just weren't going right, or I wasn't feeling it was the right place to be anymore. There was a couple of reasons behind it, but also we'd got JB like 4 or 5 months before, and like the poor little lad was thrown up constantly in the back of the car because he was only like a puppy.
Right, so anyone who doesn't know, JB is Peter's dog and mascot, and everybody in Middlesbrough knows
Chief Morale Officer.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's more synonymous with the brand than I am. Like, he's well known.
So when you were at Albert Road, JB used to sit in the window and he would be famous because he was on social media. And even me, I'd go past and be like, JB's in the
Honestly,
window.
I used to get a picture probably once a week of people saying, oh my God, look at this dog in the door. And he used to just sit there looking forlorn as if like he was hard done to, but he was the most spoilt dog in the world.
Yeah.
But even when he was a puppy, it was 45 minutes there, then he'd be in the office all day, then it was 45 minutes back. I just thought, you know what, it's a bit unfair on him. And it was a bit of a catalyst to say, yeah, you need to leave and do your own thing. Plus, I knew that there was a bit of a niche in the area. There wasn't anybody else doing it the way I wanted to do it. So I thought, right, we need to come back. We need to try and set up and do commercial interiors, but hopefully expand into residential and do other things as well. And that's the way it's ended up transpiring.
So how did you set up the business? How did it all become Cocoon Bauer? You got your shop, like how did it all come about?
Set up the business with luck, because I always said I'm not a businessman. I'm absolutely not a businessman. I just knew that I wanted to set up an interior design business. But I needed a name. So Bauer is obviously JB because he's named after Jack Bauer from 24. So I always knew that it was going to be... Always. So I knew it was going to be a little bit about me, but not Peter Turner Interiors, because I just think that sounds shite. So it was always going to have a Bauer element to it. And then actually one of Jack's favourite bands as well, White Lies. I needed a lyric by them because they're my favourite band. So I picked a lyric by my favourite song by them.
Really?
So the Cocoon element came from that, yeah. So Cocoon and Bauer.
It's a lovely name.
It's a lovely name, but when I first started it, everybody couldn't spell it, and I was like, oh crap, I've made a really bad decision here.
Yeah, I'll give you that, like.
Yeah. I've had Cocoon and Bauer. I've had Cocoon and Bauer. And then somebody always spells Bauer with a B-O-W-E-R. So
Yeah.
like 9 times out of 10 I was thinking, it's not gonna catch on this. But then it did. Everybody was saying like it sounds like Lewis and Cooper, Farrah Ball, Graham and Green. So
when you get the hang of it, you know the spelling and you know the name because it's so different.
Yeah, and I think that's what I wanted it to be as well. I wanted it to be unique and a bit different. And if which I'll never will probably, but if I ever left the business, it doesn't just tie automatically to me.
It
could be
JB.
anything. It ties to JB.
JB needs to stay with the business.
I know, yeah, he will. Even as a pot and then like on the shelf or something when he's part of the way. I know. He can just be in the shop downstairs that nobody can buy. He can just be in a pot.
He's just in a pot.
Yeah, he's only 5. He's 5 like on Saturday.
Is he? Are you doing a birthday party?
We're working, so he'll get a good walk out of him. He won't have any clue. He'll have a few cakes and a few trees from the pet shop down the road from us.
I used to see you all the time going for a walk with him.
I know,
He's
yeah.
such a spoiled dog.
He absolutely is, but now Sarah works for me. She takes him on a walk all the time as well because she loves walking dogs and walking him. So if I can't get away because I'm busy with something, she'll go for a walk at dinner time, like round the river, and she'll be like, "Oh, I'll just take JB with me." Always does a shit every time he goes with her though, so I feel really, really guilty. But yeah, he just goes with anybody now.
So, business-wise, so when you first started, how did you get your first clients and reputation?
Right. So when I left the previous company, one of the main commercial companies who I do work for, Ultimate Office Interiors, Ultimate Commercial Interiors, sorry. The main guy who I do work for in the Northeast, he said to me, he said, you do a lot of my work anyway. He said, I'll quite happily still use you. He said, I won't just use you only. I'll still talk to other people, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, we were just successful. We get along really well anyway, me and Steve. And we were just successful every job that we were going for. We were winning. So it just brought on more and more work. And that's why we ended up expanding as we did, because I was getting so busy with other little jobs that I was getting, but doing work for Ultimate was just growing and growing and growing, working for the other directors in the business and stuff like that. So I was really fortunate that I had one client to get a lot of work from. So that's who we did VisualSoft with.
Ah, yeah, of course.
So I did the design, VisualSoft for Ultimate, who did the fit out for VisualSoft.
Right.
So that's the way it works. So just because of being so successful with Steve and pitching for jobs and winning jobs, we that's how the company grew, really.
So VisualSoft are a digital company based in Teesside, and they've got huge offices. Explain the interior, because I don't really know how to explain it, but it's so good when you go in.
We were on like the south wing, on the ground floor. They just wanted it to be a more usable space for the business. Obviously they've got the big open plan office on the first floor, a couple of meeting rooms and a couple of other things dotted about, but they wanted a better, like most companies do now, they're wanting better facilities or scenarios where they can go and work from, rather than it just being either a meeting desk or a workstation. So you provide them with different facilities of working. So they've got, we called it like the meeting village. You've got a room that's got a sofa and a couple of armchairs in there, so you can go for an informal meeting. You've got one that's a really small room with a desk in it, but that's for like private study, where if you're upstairs and you're in the office space and you can't concentrate, you've got a project to do. You just take yourself down there, you book the room, book it for like 2 hours, however long you need it, sit on the desk, nobody bothers you, it's acoustic glass, so it's all quite quiet in there. You can just get on with the work.
There's a telephone box room.
There's a telephone box, there's 6-person meeting room, 4-person meeting room, there's a board room, the sales office is down there, there's the tiered seating area, which
I was just about to say the tiered seating.
Yeah, well,
amazing.
that area there, that I mean, it looks amazing because we wanted it to be a multifunctional space. It's a bar area for when they're entertaining. It's a tiered seating area for doing presentations and big TED Talks or whatever they may be doing, or networking events. But it's also a place that people can go grab a coffee and a sandwich and just go sit there and chat to each other about, well, it might not be work, but you can go work from there if you wanted to. It's got sockets all the way around the tiered seating, so take your laptop in, sit it on your knee and just work from there for an hour. It just gives different people different ways of working, which is better for mindfulness, for well-being. It makes people want to work in those sort of places, which is what we do in any of our jobs, to be fair.
It's like bringing an office space into the now, isn't it?
Yeah, more offices are becoming more agile like that, as in giving more areas to those sort of situations, huddle spaces and private study rooms, is what I've just said. But then it's giving them the ability to go in there and make it feel like it's a bit more homely. So everything's going more resi-mercial is the term that they call it now. So it's slightly residential version of commercial. And it just means that it's more relaxed, it's more easygoing. There's no kind of hierarchy anymore. You know, most of the MDs or CEOs of companies now seem to sit within the open plan. They don't have their own cellular office at the end of, their ivory tower.
Oh,
they always want to sit within the business, and it's a more relaxed atmosphere across offices now. You still will have a couple that are different, but that's the way office interiors is at the moment. It's much more resi-mercial, much more focused on welfare and well-being and about the employees. Because people want to attract the best employees, but they also want to retain them as well. No. And the only way to do that is to create an office environment that they really buy into. You know,
I agree.
Somebody was telling me, it was probably the end of last year or the beginning of last year, and they were saying, "No, don't believe in that. Don't believe in that. Like, if you want to go for a drink, you go out afterwards and stuff like that." And I was thinking that's quite an archaic way of thinking.
Yeah.
Not many CEOs or MDs that I speak to now think like that. They want their office environment to feel like it's an enjoyable place to be, because if you enjoy going to work, 9 times out of 10 you'll stay there.
Yeah, and you work better as well.
And you work better as well, yeah. Who wants to be in a 70s office when you can be in somewhere that's got like moss green walls on the wall, and it's got music playing in the background, and it's got a bar facility and a cinema and a gym maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it's a much better place to be.
Tell me some other office spaces you've worked in, because I want to talk about Maybor's, Friends.
You know what? I'd love to say that was my idea, and for the benefit of just wanting to look like we came up with a great idea, it was our idea. But it wasn't. It was It was Lee's idea.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Lee Maybor's idea.
It's a really good idea.
It's clever, yeah. He just said, "I want this area to be completely different." He said, "And you can buy packs where it looks like sets from different TV shows." I was like, "Right, okay." And I didn't really know how it was going to look, but they did it so well, as in. Even down to like the fan light above the door, like for Monica and Rachel's rooms, like it just looked like the Friends set. So
I loved it.
They did it brilliant, and because it was so quirky compared to the rest of the office looking quite smart and cool, it just worked. Yeah, just worked.
Well, it was. We went in with James Lees when we were over at Sales.
Oh, you mean the guy who was asked to be on the podcast?
Yeah, the guy who's invited himself to be on the podcast.
Right, that one. Yeah, that one.
So we went upstairs to see James and we signed the Friends bit, and I loved it.
Yeah, it is.
It was just a nice feel.
It's class. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was clever.
Area,
yeah, it was clever. I mean, we've been lucky that we've done a lot of companies in the area. Then we've done a lot further afield as well. I posted yesterday about the best one that I always still say is the one that we did for Believe Housing in Seaham, because that was 3 floors. I think it was about 42,000 square feet. Huge space. But that does have all of the sort of agile working that I was just talking about. And it still looks, it's 2-year-old, but it just looks brilliant. It just really does look good.
I was just about to say, what's your favourite place that you've done your interior design for?
It's probably Big Bites.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't been in Big Bites yet.
Have you not?
No, what's it like? I've seen pictures and it does look amazing.
It's, like I always say about interiors, it's about the feeling when you go into those spaces. It's not necessarily about the colour on the walls, the chair you've chosen, or the light in the pendant light. It's like an accumulation of all of the smaller elements that make the interior what it is. And with that one, it's just got a really nice vibe to it. You walk in and it feels like a loft apartment, or it feels like a New York apartment, which is what the aim was, like quite bohemian in some way. But it's just really nice vibe. I mean, it helps that they've got floor-to-ceiling windows that look on Albert Road, so it feels quite buzzing. You've got, a lot of traffic going by, people walking by all the time, so it has that nice buzz about it. But it's quite industrial, quite apartment-like. It's about the feeling that you walk in. I mean, when you go in, just tell me what you think. Do you know Ian?
No.
Right, I'll do you an invite to an introduction to Ian, and just say that you want to go in and have a look.
I do want to go in.
Yeah, because it's the feeling when you walk in that space. You just think, oh yeah, I'd fucking love to work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though that's not the biggest job we've ever done, it's still probably my favourite.
Do you know, I can see like on the outside on Albert Road, it says that Big Bite or something on the windows.
It does.
That's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. They've got, do you mean the post-it notes?
The post-it notes,
no,
yeah.
That's not cool. That's just because they're looking for developers. That's
cool.
just freaking self-promotion.
Do you know what? I always look at it and think, what does it say? And then like I clicked one time when I was at Pie Jackers and it said...
Big Bite, developers wanted.
Yeah.
It's just basically a cheap sign.
I'm sorry, I'm loving it. If I get it built up,
I'm not laying claim to that because it's just naff, basically.
That was not you.
That was not me.
But everything else was you.
Everything else was us,
right,
yeah.
Okay,
I mean, they came up with some like really cool names for the which I didn't realise, that WordPress updates are named after jazz singers, I think, or jazz artists, something like that. But they've named each of the rooms after WordPress updates, because they deal with a lot with
really
WordPress.
cool,
So so it's quite quirky, but it means that it's about them without it being, I don't know, called Ian on the side of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That sounds really good.
Yeah,
so I
is.
want an invite.
Okay, I'll do an introduction.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
So where's, I mean, you can't say really where it's your worst place, or can you?
I could.
Go on then.
But I'll refrain.
Have a drink.
Neck this and tell us all about it. No, I won't. No, I wouldn't say it's my worst one. It's just like when little issues after issues come up and just a difficult client. Yeah, you just think.
How do you deal with that?
You hope that they go away. No, I'd say we've only ever had like difficult residential ones, but really that was during lockdown, and it was heightened attitudes and heightened personalities and difficult circumstances, and like now we look back at it and we go, yeah, it was stressful, and to the point where like the anxiety was through the roof, like never ever experienced like that before. And like I almost have PTSD now. Thinking back to it, like there's a song that every time it comes on, my liked songs on Spotify, every time it comes on, I'm like, oh my god, flip that over, Christ! It just immediately takes me back to that period. But you could put it down to just everyone being stressed out with COVID and everything, and you can look back at it now and go, yeah, it wasn't particularly great the way like we handled it, they handled it, or whatever. But the outcome was still great in the end. But with commercial ones, yeah, it's just a bit difficult. It depends who you work with. You know, you have some people who we work for who are like some of the highest profile people in the area in the northeast, and they're the most down-to-earth people you could ever speak to, and they're great to work with. Then you have some people who are, I don't know, jumped up and narcissistic and just, I don't know, expect you to be ringing them at 3 o'clock in the morning just because they're up.
Who have we called narcissistic today? James Lees.
James Lees, yeah, the one who asked for an invite
to the podcast. Yeah. Shout out to James. So if you weren't doing this occupation and you weren't doing Cocoon and Bauer and you had Bauer at home, what do you think you would be doing career-wise? I'll tell you what Bill said after. Do you want me to tell you what Bill said
Tell me what
first?
Bill said now.
Bill said chef Gordon Ramsay.
You know what? I am the cook of the household.
Chef now.
I can't say chef, but I am the cook of the household. I would do it, but I've watched MasterChef plenty of times and I've seen what it's like in those kitchens, and I ain't doing that shit. You know what? I don't know. I do like travelling of some sort, so maybe something to do with travel. I don't know.
Maybe fashion.
No, fuck
Really?
that.
If you like buying and fashion and stuff.
No, absolutely not. No, I was talking to somebody we're doing an exhibition in London in September, a hotel exhibition where we're designing the main room of the hotel exhibition. And the woman who was our contact there, she's leaving and she's going to take herself in the fashion industry. And she went, I think that's a massive mistake. She said, but I'm just going to go with the flow and see how it works out. Because yeah, it just seems like they're all bitchy and difficult. And
we worked in the fashion industry for years, me and Ben. And
did you?
What
Top.
Psych.
Yeah, I thought it was Topshop.
I mean, I worked at Topshop, but I mean, Psych and Cruise Clothing and everything.
Oh yeah, it was Psych that you two were at, wasn't it?
Yeah. And yeah, there's only so much SSs and autumn winters you can do, and it's like.
Yeah, I wouldn't go into that. I wouldn't. I think it would be. It may be something relating to design, but I think it'd be more something that I like doing. Like, I love doing interiors. I don't see it as a job.
No.
It's only it becomes a job when it becomes stressful, but then that's part and parcel. But I just see it as being doing something that we love.
And you love what you do every day.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd want to do something that I love doing again, but I don't know what that'd be. I didn't make it as a footballer, so it wasn't going to be that.
Oh, well, you should have said footballer as your career.
I'd have loved to have been a footballer,
Right, so
but
there's your career.
There's my career. There we go.
Footballer.
Yeah,
Ching.
multi-millionaire. Yeah.
Okay, so if you could go back and give yourself advice, what advice would you give yourself if you were starting the business?
Because every time we've expanded, we've always then needed to expand quite quickly sooner after. I'd probably say think bigger initially. Like I had the like kind of pragmatic approach of I'll take a little small unit in Boho 5 and then realise that I need to take the room next door, so I ended up having to expand that quite quickly. Then took people on quite quickly as well. Then we moved to Albert Road and we set up that, but we set it up in such a way that I couldn't really expand the team that big inside Albert Road, so that's hence why we've ended up moving to Yarm. We moved to Yarm and I took the first floor and didn't take all of the first floor. And because of that, we now should have taken all of the first floor. So really, I mean, it's obviously continuous. It's not just starting the business, but I mean, you should think bigger initially and just go with it.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because each time we've always had to then do something a little bit more.
While we're talking about doing something, what's your plans?
Well, Cocoon and Bauer is just sort of, I wouldn't say it's running by itself, but it's it's got a good amount of work coming in, which breeds further work. New work keeps coming in as well from like different fit out companies or different developers or contractors or whoever. But I'd say that it's Bauer at Home that's probably got the most trajectory sort of thing now, because that's bringing in work for Cocoon and Bauer, but it's standing on its own 2 feet quite well. So really it's to go into e-commerce for Bauer at Home. Everyone keeps asking us about another shop, so we'll probably be opening another shop. Won't be in the area though, we'll go further afield.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of, in Yam, you get a lot of people from Manchester, Leeds, Bradford, higher up in like Northumberland. You get loads of people passing through Yam who say, oh, have you got another shop anywhere closer to this place where we live? And I'm like, no, sorry, we only opened this 5 months ago.
So where would you go? So I'm getting exclusive here.
Yeah, I know. So I'd say that it's probably it's either over towards Manchester or Northumberland way, or like North Newcastle way. That's where potentially it would be. We have an idea of it being towards Manchester because that's where most of the people keep asking about.
Yeah.
And from some of our reps, we know that there's an area where it will be a bit niche. But we need to see whether it's e-commerce first or expansion into another shop.
Ooh,
Who knows?
it's so exciting.
Who knows? We kind of just go with the flow, really. Like,
And the shop is amazing, isn't it?
I love the shop. Yeah,
I do.
It's the vibe. It's when you come in today, it feels right. The music on. We've had people asking us about. Well, the smell in the shop is obviously the candle we brought out. They ask us about the playlist in the shop. They ask us like all about the interior elements that are in there. It's just the vibe that you get when you go in there. It's lovely.
And you're really honest. So if something doesn't go with
Yeah.
something in your house, like I said to you, or do you think this? And you were like, no. I know something else that'll go with it.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I mean, the other day we were telling somebody to go get something off Wayfair because, like, I mean, it's just honesty, because people buy into honesty a lot more than they do. You're
I
trying
agree,
to bullshit them and just sell them something. Mm-hmm. So there's that, but then there's also just being true and being honest to people anyway, which it's a bit of our mantra, like always be honest, and you'll never have to try and get around your lies that you've made or create issues for yourself. So basically, when they've asked us about certain things, they bought 2 mirrors off us and they're like, oh, should we buy a third and order a third off you? And I said, no. I was like, don't do that. So why don't you get some nice wall planters or something in the middle and get like a mesh shelving thing? So I was like, well, you can get them off Wayfair. You can go on Cox and Cox. You can look at that. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll look at that.
That's good though, because people will appreciate the honesty and they'll come back.
I suppose that's more the interior designer coming out of us than the like business person. The business person will be like, oh no, we've got them over there. Go get this. But
because you've got the mix of both as well, because you're amazing at what you do in interior design and you've got the shop, you know what'll go nice and people take your advice as well. Like I take your advice like wholheartedly. Like I absolutely love your advice, and I know that you'll tell me yes or no.
You've just got to be honest with people. Yeah. At the end of the day, they want their interior to feel great, and if they think that you've given them great advice on their interior and it looks perfect, you know, if they've gone on Wayfair and bought some mesh shelving or wall planters or whatever, and then they'll think, oh yeah, we'll go back to Bauer at Home because they were honest with us.
Yeah, I agree. What about trends for 2022?
I don't know. Trends are always difficult with trends because trends are a fad. So, you know, you buy emerald green sofas this year because it's a big trend. Come next year, it's going to look shit because like somebody else says like, oh, emerald green's not in now, it's fuchsia. I
read somewhere that you take like your trend ideas from cars, from like different places, like completely like
fashion.
You wouldn't expect
anything. Yeah, we try to always aim for longevity. In all of our designs, it's all about the longevity. So in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, will it still look good? Yeah. Okay. There'll be elements of it that'll look worn and everything else. Yeah, of course it will, because they'll be used. So then you maybe need to change things. But in terms of style and look, it should always look great for long periods. If you're wanting trends to put into it, then great, they can be like accent pieces. If they were like emerald green or pink at the moment, pink seems to be quite big. If you were wanting to put pink cushions in there, great, yeah, add the pink cushions because you can replace cushions quite easy. But if you get like, I don't know, a pink dining table, I'm not saying that exists, but if you've got a pink dining table, chances are you're going to want to change that in a year. or a year and a half or something. And it's going to be a complete waste of money. You want something that looks brilliant for long periods, and then just swap out artwork, swap out, in springtime, put like nice fresh flowers or fake flowers in there, but come autumn, put twigs in and put like dead leaves in, and, make it feel like it's changing with the season rather than changing with the trends. And then you can pick and choose things out in your own time then. Yeah.
What about your favourite designs?
Well, we were chatting about this the other day in the office, and we were saying that there's loads of interior designers that are famous now. They've got like 80,000, 1 million followers, whatever. But there's always the person who does the designs that are always amazing. They always look great. They always have longevity. It's still Kelly Hoppen. I know she's sold herself a bit thin now, and she's here, there, and everywhere, and presenting on QVC at 2 a.m. But if you look at her designs from like a book that I had when I left uni, her design for one of the living rooms in there, you look at it now and it'd still be trendy now. Still be trendy now, it'd still look amazing now. And I think everybody else still probably either looks up to her or tries to be her. But she's still the best one.
I was going to say influential people, and she's...
Yeah, I'd say, like I was saying it to Sophie the other day, I was like, just take a book home and understand why she's doing certain things. Don't copy her style, because there'll be stuff that we pick, choose and differently to what she's got. But just understand why she's chosen certain things, understand the proportions, the way she's laid things out, how she's organised things, the detail she's put into things, because then that's what will influence you, rather than just saying, oh yeah, we're going to make this look like a Kelly Hoppen design, because that's just cheap and it's lazy design. So yeah, I'd still say for her, residential wise, she's still somebody that you every now and then you just need to have a look at and just understand. But then commercial wise, it depends on the client. Yeah, depends on the client what they want. Do they want something that's industrial? Do they want something that's quite sophisticated? Do they want something that's Scandi? And then you pick and choose your finishes and your layouts and everything else that suit the ethos of the company and the brief and the brand. Yeah.
Nice. So, I was going to ask, are you allowed to say about Rockcliffe or not?
Yeah, we're working for Rockcliffe. Yeah.
Right.
We were asked to tender for the works at Rockcliffe to do 33 bedrooms. I don't know who we were up against. I think we were up against 3-4 others maybe. And we, thankfully won the project because we showed them visuals, we showed them samples.
Of course you would win, darling.
Well, of course, yeah. But, so we showed them visuals, we showed them the design that we were going for, and they loved it, yeah. They were concerned that it was a step away from what they used to, but I think that's what they were wanting to do. They were wanting to bring it into modern day. But like I was saying to you earlier, it's got longevity. This design's got longevity. It'll look fantastic in 5-10 years' time. Whereas I think the previous design was looking tired.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying to you, so I went in for a shoot and we went in one of the rooms and it didn't feel like it should.
Doesn't feel like a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, and what you could do to it, you just absolutely bring it into...
This does feel like a 5-star hotel. We were sat in it yesterday as we were fitting out everything now. Our upholsterer was bringing in the sofas, chairs, the headboard. The curtain makers were fitting the curtains. Our joinery company were fitting like a new AV unit, and it was starting to feel like a London hotel, like a 5-star London hotel. It looked amazing. We've got 11 rooms to do in that design. Then if this gets passed and through the sample room section, then we've got another 11 rooms to do in another design and another 11 rooms to do in another design. So each will be different, but they'll be linked in some way, or they'll have a familiarity with it, but they'll still be unique and have their own personality.
Yeah, I was going to say, do the rooms have the personality? Yeah,
own personality. Like there's the other two. This one's quite dark, the walls, but I like the darkness. I feel like that's quite comforting.
It's not like a dark though. It feels like a modern room. It does. It feels like lovely.
It's like it's a textured plane on the wall, but it's in a darker wall covering. It's got a lighter floor, and then there's got nice contrast between fabrics and cushions and yeah, it does. It feels amazing. But that's the darker of the designs. The other two are lighter, but they've still got a real luxurious feel into them. And again, 5-star. It feels 5-star. It doesn't feel like it's tired and dirty.
No, it doesn't at all. No. I've just seen the picture on your phone.
Yeah. Sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
Yeah.
But like, it'll be gorgeous when it's done.
Oh, it will. Yeah.
It needed it though, I feel like.
It will. Yeah. Jason, the MDs. I mean, they're all easy to work with at Rockcliffe. They've been fab to deal with.
Nice people.
Yeah, they are. It's just easy to deal with. So Jason, I think, who's the MD, he's staying in it potentially on Monday, and if he loves it, then yeah, full steam ahead.
Good, amazing. I'm sure we will love it as well. So what are you watching on TV lately?
I'm going to Benidorm in 3 weeks, sorry.
Okay.
I was supposed to be taking my mum, because, well, no.
This is taking a turn.
So, no, I know, yeah, this has gone different. No, basically, my mum had isolated for 12 weeks because she had COPD, bless her. So she'd isolated for 12 weeks in the first lockdown, and I was like drunk one day in the bull. I was like, I'm gonna book me and my mum to go to Benidorm. We'll take her away. She's been so good, all that kind of crap. Anyway, booked it for like October 2020. It then came around to 2021 and got changed a load of times, and then it came around to being March 2022. So I was going to take her, but now she's just not comfortable at going because she doesn't know how her breathing's going to be and everything. So she's not going now. Ant's going. So Ant's coming with me and maybe one of our friends. So we've just watched the entire 5 series or 7 series of Benidorm to get in the mood for it.
It's in. What did you think?
You know what? The first 4 or 5 series are just like comical because they're just easy to watch.
Yeah.
Like if I'm working on something and like I'm not needing to pay attention, it's just easy to have on in the background. But like the last series was just crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're actually staying at the hotel where they filmed it.
No way.
Yeah, we're staying at the Sol Pelicanos.
Buzzing.
So yeah. It's not all inclusive, mind, or anything like that, but yeah. So we're staying there, like going there in 4 weeks, and then going to Ibiza in the end of April for a stag do. But other than Benidorm, we haven't really watched anything.
Nothing.
We didn't watch that Trigger Point. Everybody was going on about Trigger Point.
I haven't seen that.
No. Watched the Dark Knight trilogy the other day. Like just not watching anything at the moment.
Right. Okay.
We were massively into certain shows that were on, and then as soon as they've ended, we've not found anything to follow it up.
That's pretty devastating.
I know it is. I know.
Game of Thrones. Do you watch that?
We've watched it 3 times.
Right. Amazing. Well, thank you, Peter.
Thank you for having me.
Where can we find you? Do you want to tell everyone where we can find you?
We are Cocoon and Bauer is above Bauer at Home on 32 High Street, Yarm. So we're just on the opening to Fairfax Court as you go down to Tomahawk. We're on the right hand side. Bauer at Home's there 7 days a week because you can't pick and choose the busy days on that shop. And then Cocoon and Bauer's Monday to Friday upstairs.
Amazing. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.